Hi guys, back with more complementary coordination pattern training. So we've looked at a couple of patterns, making the X with a single lever, how to blend that with making the X with the other lever, right? And how to blend those into cob-cob and back, right? So we learned how to do that, and then we learned some methods to change the loading for cob-cob to add a little variety to that when you're doing that particular pattern. Let's throw a new pattern into the mix now. Now the new pattern comes from a new position, and that new position is crossed. So far, everything we've been doing has been from open position. This is the first I've discussed about the positions of double levers. The three major categories or families of position are open. This is open, this is open, this is open, this is open. Open is any position in which neither of your two arms is across your body. Then there's closed. Now closed is when one arm is across your body. And closed patterns have a certain asymmetry to them that makes them less basic when it comes to some of the more basic things we've been doing, like cob-cob and the X. So that's closed. That's a family. There's closed low, closed outside, closed high. Today we're going to be using crossed. Crossed is when both your arms are across your center, across your body. Generally speaking, as a lever athlete, you're going to find that crossed position patterns will feel awkward if you don't learn to use your arms in conjunction with each other. If you separate the motions of your arms until you're a little more experienced, you're going to feel like you're really in your own way. And a big part of learning double lever coordination patterns is how to not feel like you are in your own way. Well, when you put one arm across the other, you're already potentially trapping yourself, and your opponent knows that. So you could simply say, I will never do crossed patterns, and that's absolutely an option that you could use. But it's actually quite a good position to use for little moments in the fight, so long as you know how to fluidly get out of it. Guess what? Coordination patterns help you learn to do that. So today we're going to work from open to closed and back. Now the standard pattern in open position, you already know, that's cob-cob. Well, there's sort of a negative of cob-cob in the crossed position, and that is pie-pie. Pie-pie is like cob-cob, but it's all backhands instead of all forehands. Not that complicated, but one trick that really helps when you're working in crossed position is if you pretend that your hands are connected, or your forearms and wrists are connected, not by something really stiff like a handcuff, but maybe a stretchy handcuff, like a bungee cord handcuff. So the more you keep your hands close to each other, the easier it is to manipulate without getting in your own way and causing you trouble. This also helps you to throw more power into whatever it is that you're doing. Power can seem really awkward in this position, but when you learn to use your arms in unison, as if you're actually swinging something with two arms, it just happens that you're swinging the two arms this way, it feels a lot better. And be content in the knowledge that when you really apply this, you're only going to be in crossed position for a few beats before you go on. Although in coordination training, like we're doing now, you might stay there longer just to get the extra coordination. So let's look at how to go from cob-cob to pie-pie and vice versa. We need to add in a new movement, and that new movement is the scissor. In the Philippines, they call this gunting, and there's many different ways it's taught. And I'm sure that some of you FMA instructors out there won't like the way I'm going to do it, and that's okay, because we all have our own way of doing things. But in this particular case, I'm going to make the gunting by crossing one weapon over the other. Now I can cross right over left, and I can cross left over right. And for the purposes of these exercises, it's your choice. I recommend training a fairly equal amount both ways, become comfortable in both ways. Generally, people like to leave their strong hand on top or their more dexterous hand on top. But as I said, it will vary. So the gunting is a scissoring motion to close, but it's also a scissoring motion to open. And you can, just as coordination, without doing anything with a partner, practice doing guntings over and over. But this is not something I'm doing with a partner to provide him with a lever to strike. This is just a transition. So how do I do that and still not fail to present a lever for my partner? Well, let's take, for example, I'm doing cob-cob. I want you to watch this right lever, okay? As I do one of its strikes, I'm going to cross the other lever under. So as I went into this strike, I just let the other one drift under, that way. And then I have to do what I call double tap. Double tap means that I'm going to make the last strike of the earlier pattern done with the same lever that does the first strike of the next pattern. I'll say that again. The last strike that you do in the pattern that you move out of will be done with a lever, and that same lever will strike again a second time to initiate the new pattern. And I call that double tapping. Normally, with everything we've done so far, you're going right, left, with the exception of when you're doing the single stick, or the single sword in this case. But now it's going to get more complicated as you start bringing in the cross position variations. So here I am, I'm doing cob-cob, and on one of my forehands, I drift across, and my next shot that comes back is that same lever. And then here comes this one. And when I decide to switch back again, watch the right lever. When I decide to switch back again, I drift this one out, and I come back with that same lever, and there I am in cob-cob. So again, I'm going to switch with the right lever. And again, I'm going to switch back out with the right lever. So now I've switched between two completely different patterns, fluidly, I hope, and without failing to present that lever for my partner to strike, no matter what pattern he's doing, every single time and on the beat. And that's the whole theme of the complementary coordination patterns. So try adding pi into the mix and see how it works for you. It definitely jacks things up to a new level insofar as making you focus your attention and pay attention to where your levers are in space as you're moving around. Good luck with your training.